Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. And it seems the government are talking themselves into a corner. They made the promise at the last budget that they wouldn't be putting up taxes for working people. Unfortunately, they're going to have to. So now what they're doing is they're trying to change the phraseology, trying to change the words, trying to change the meaning of things so that they can put taxes up, but without breaking their promise not to put taxes up. And yeah, you know, you had Heidi Alexander talking yesterday, wasn't it, about what does she call them? People on modest incomes, whatever that means. Nobody could define what modest is because, you know, it's all relative, isn't it? So, you know, what is modest incomes? But that was immediately dropped. They stopped saying that almost immediately because they realised it opened up a particularly nasty can of worms. Darren Jones, Treasury Secretary, Chief Secretary of the Treasury, I believe his title is, he was asked what is a modest income, and he refused to answer the question. I don't know if he had an idea of what it would be, but I think it's more that he did not want to put a monetary value on it, because then anyone below that wouldn't be eligible for paying more taxes. And he realised that this would be a trap. So he's like, I'm not answering that question. So he went and started talking about working people. But see, working people is a tough one too, because if it's only working people, does that mean you can tax children, the elderly, the unemployed, the sick? You know, all those people who don't work. And then you have to define what work is. And then he did, and he said it's anyone who gets a pay slip. Well, someone on minimum wage gets a pay slip, and a multi-millionaire who earns $1 million a year gets a pay slip. You're going to treat them all the same. If that's the case, then the taxes aren't going up for anyone, and that's super. Again, it's a very bad description. So then they very quickly dropped working people. They're now casting around looking for increasingly difficult descriptions so that they can justify putting taxes up while still saying, yes, but we kept our tax rate promises for, you know, this particular group, as it were, because it's there to try and bullshit their way through, really. But they don't have a clue what to call them. And it was also noticeable that he started talking about headline rates. Now, of course, there's many, many rates. So while the headline rate of, say, VAT is 20%, it's not the only rate. You've got outside the scope, you've got zero, you've got VAT exempt. And they're all they're all zero rated, you know, there's no VAT on them. 3 different types of zero rated VAT. You've got 5%, you've got 8%, you've got 20%. There's still legacy 17.5%. It's all very, very weird, isn't it? And the same with tax. Oh, we're not putting the tax rates up for the 20%ers, but what about the 40%ers, the 45%ers? Again, they're not the headline rates, and so he can put it up there, which breaks the promise about not putting it up. But then they say, oh, but not at the headline rate, and then they're trying this embuggerment of language, I suppose, in order to stop themselves looking like a bunch of liars. But I mean, it always fails. Remember, years ago, there was, what was his name, Osborne, and he brought in the the pasty tax, wasn't it? The pasty tax. And if you got a hot pasty from Greggs, you had to pay more than if you bought a cold one. Because, you know, desperate for money, let's go and do stupid taxes. Window tax, beard tax. Beard tax would be a nice one, wouldn't it? But then they'd say, oh, it's racist. But hey-ho. So, and also it would be very embarrassing, I think, asking some women to pay. But yeah, that's it. They're running out of words, and they're running out of very weird terminologies, because they absolutely desperately don't want to just say, oh, we got this one wrong, because they're so fucking arrogant, they can't admit that they get something wrong. Hey-ho. Let me know what you think. Thanks very much. Bye.